Shalom family, it's your girl Shay Vlogs, and I am back with another video. And in today's video I'm going to be doing a story time of how I basically came across my dog and my cat, how they just fell in my lap. So I'm going to be doing a story time about that. Hope you guys love it. But before we go too far into this video, make sure you guys hit that like button, smash that subscribe button if you haven't already, so you can join the family. So I'm gonna start with how I came across Oreo. I have been wanting a dog for the longest. Anybody who knew me, that was like the first thing when I used to celebrate pagan holidays. That was the first thing on my list, like a puppy. I wanted a puppy, a puppy, a puppy. I wanted that fairy tale magical dream of opening a box and a golden retriever just jumping out on me, and I'm just like, you know, puppy. So that was like always my dream. So even some years, that was the only thing on my Christmas list. I'm like, I don't want nothing. I just want a puppy, because I'm trying to guilt trip my parents into getting me a puppy, but they weren't going for it. So at this point, I had already graduated high school, and I'm just like, I'm kind of bored. Before Oreo, I had actually had another dog that I came across. I found her sleeping in a tire in a truck outside my house. So I ended up keeping her for like 2 weeks. My parents ended up tricking me into giving her away. Once I gave her away, I never seen or heard from the lady ever again, and she took my dog, and I have no idea what happened to Lucky. My little brother, he's an actor. So we went to an audition somewhere like by the Grove. If you know LA, you know the Grove. So we were over there. Now there's a Petco next to a place where they do like a bunch of auditions. So we go in there, checking it out, just walking around, and we end up coming across a pet adoption in the back. So yeah, we come across a pet adoption place in the back. So at this point I'm like, let me go check it out. So we go over there, we check it out, and you know, we're looking at the dogs, and I'm like, oh, they're so cute, they're so cute. But in my head I'm like, they're probably not gonna let me get a dog, you know what I mean? Like, my mom is not going to let me get a dog, you know? So I'm just like, let me see if I can guilt trip her into it, because at this point I'm already working, I have a job, I have a car. So I'm like, let me try to just guilt trip her into letting me get a dog. So we go in there, we find Peanut. Peanut was Oreo's sister, right? Peanut was so freaking cute. If I have pictures and I can find them, I'll insert them in this video. And we come across Peanut, and we're like, Peanut is super cute. Let's check her out. Let's see if maybe we can adopt it. And my mom just like went along with it, because I'm like, I want a dog, like I can take care of the dog, everything like that. So she ended up just being like, okay. And I'm like, no, are you serious? You know, like, are you serious? I can really have a dog? And she was like, yeah, like, all right, let's check it out. And so she's like, let's see what the process is on fostering them and things like that. So the way I tricked her into it was, let's foster the dog, not adopt it, because that adoption was permanent. I said, let's foster the dog and let's see how it is to live with the dog and take care of it. So I'm like, I'm gonna be on my best behavior. I'm gonna be picking up after the dog, walking it, you know, doing everything I need to do, because you know, some people get a dog and then end up getting lazy. But me, I had wanted a dog since I was like 7 years old. So I was like, I'm not going to do that, especially how the situation with Lucky ended. I was just like, I don't want to ever give up a dog that I get attached to. So I was like, this is my one and only shot while I'm living with my parents to get a dog. So yeah, so we asked the lady who's running the program. Now for legal purposes, I'm gonna change her name to Nicole. Okay, so Nicole is like, yeah, Caucasian lady, of course, she's older. Peanut doesn't just come by herself. Oreo has to go with them. They're a pair. They're bonded, blah blah blah. They were from the same litter. They give us the backstory of Oreo. Oreo was the runt of the family. He was the smallest one, and the house that they were living at, the dad of the house was actually abusing all of the animals, and Oreo got whipped, like beat the worst. So Oreo was very, very terrified of men. He didn't like he didn't like hats. He didn't like sunglasses, and any men, whether it was a kid or a grown man, he did not like, you know. So it was really hard at first dealing with Oreo, but I wasn't gonna give up. I ended up training Oreo. Oreo's like the best dog. Anybody that knows Oreo is one of the best dogs they have ever met and came across before. Super trained, knows a bunch of tricks, very well behaved, okay? So they're like, you know, there will have to be a pair. So I'm like, damn, okay, let's see if she would go for 2. So she's like, okay, you know, let's think about it, let's talk about it. So we go and we talk about it basically, and we decide, yeah, we want to foster them. It'll be cool. They were both small, so it was like, it's not too big of a hassle. And I told my mom, like, I'll pay for everything. But the foster people ended up saying they pay for everything. So we didn't have to come out of pocket for food, for neutering, for toys, for beds, nothing. The fostering people, the company pay for everything. So I'm like, we basically get 2 free dogs, you know what I mean? So I'm putting in her head like, you don't have to pay for anything. We basically get 2 free dogs, you know? So she was like, okay, let's go ahead and foster them. So nobody liked Oreo because Oreo was the loudmouth one. He was very rowdy, and he wasn't that cute. To me, he was cute, but to everybody else, he was like ugly and things like that. But to me, Oreo was adorable. And then Peanut was super cute. Like, her tongue was super long. It always hung out of her mouth. It never went back inside her mouth. So she always had like this cute little like innocent face. And I loved it, you know. I loved Peanut. So we ended up fostering them. We load them up into the car. We signed the paperwork and everything. Basically, the only stipulation to this is that we have to bring both of them back every Saturday to see if they would get adopted out at the little adoption place. So we have to go back every Saturday and see if they will get adopted out. If not, we continue to foster them. So unless we wanted to permanently adopt them. So we take them home. First things first, or Eddie goes to unload the car. Eddie doesn't know we have dogs at this point. We're just like, Eddie, like, we got puppies, like, go get them out the car. And at this point, they were only 3 months. Both of them were 3 months. They told us that they were like 17 weeks. So they weren't too old. They were still super young and super small. So yeah, so we're like, Eddie, go get the puppies out the car. So he like, puppies? Like, what you mean, dog? We got a dog? And we like, yeah, we got a dog. Not only one, but we got 2. So he like, what the heck? So he go and he get the cage to bring them in the house, and Oreo tries to attack Eddie through the cage. So Eddie's like, oh, nah, like, I'm not messing with this dog. Finally let them out to walk around, and Oreo is like ready to attack Eddie and Kelvin. Like, he's ready to attack. And he was okay with Kelvin because Kelvin was there when we got the dogs. But when we got home, he was like turning up. So Kel like, whoa, like, you know, chill out. Eddie like, I don't like that, you know what I mean? Like, he doing too much. So I'm like, okay, I see that I'm gonna have to train Oreo. So long story short, we keep Oreo. For maybe like 2-3 months we had Oreo, and we would take him every Saturday to the adoption place, but nobody wanted to adopt him or Peanut. The problem was they would always want to adopt Peanut but not Oreo, and when they found out that they were pairs, they just kind of said, you know what, never mind, because Oreo was always vicious towards the men. So my mom was, I don't even know how we got to the point where they had decided that they were going to give them back to the adoption people. Like, they didn't want to foster them anymore. But they had got to the point where they were like, we don't want to do it. I think because Oreo was just too crazy. It was just too much for them. But at that point, I was still trying to train Oreo and get him in shape and things like that. So he wouldn't be too vicious towards other people. So they ended up giving Oreo back. I cried for like 4 days straight. Like, it was like the worst time of my life. I was just like, I'm so sad. I feel so empty. Like, to hear their pitter patter, like their feet in the house, it gave me like a sense of joy. So when it was like I would wake up and I had nothing to do, like they weren't there, they didn't jump on me, they didn't, you know, they weren't barking, they didn't need to go outside. Like, it was just kind of like I didn't want to get out of bed. I was just so sad. So I'm on their Facebook, like kind of stalking their Facebook, because Nicole was posting like, this dog needs a foster. He's going from basically place to place and he needs a foster. So I'm like, Mom, like, look, they called Nicole And my mom didn't know. So I'm talking to Nicole and I'm like, what's going on with Oreo? Like, how is he doing? And things like that. So she's like, basically right now he's just bouncing around from person to person on a daily basis. He doesn't really have a permanent foster. That basically he's just going from place to place. Now at this point we had did an adoption for on our own with Peanut. So we had ended up adopting Peanut to a couple. Now we ended up keeping Oreo. So after they gave him back, it was just Oreo by himself that went back. It wasn't Peanut and Oreo, it was just Oreo. So Oreo's just bouncing around from place to place. And I ended up like just sitting down with my mom and Eddie, and we talked about it, and we were just like, we miss Oreo. It's not the same. And so my mom was like, okay, I do miss the dog. I miss his little self. Like, let's go get him. So I'm like, you serious? So we ended up going to get Oreo. And when I tell you, he was so excited to see us. Like, I think it was almost necessary for us to give him back, because when Oreo came back, after they gave him up, he was so happy, and he was like super good. Like, he knew, okay, I can't play with these people. Like, they would give me away. Like, I cannot play with these people. So after that, he was on his best behavior. He wasn't going crazy on men. And when we go pick up Oreo, it's gonna be me and Eddie and Kel, and we're gonna see how Oreo react. So I'm like, oh crap, okay. So I let them go pick up Oreo. Oreo's, you know, he's happy and stuff like that, but he was trying to look around the corner like, where is this girl? You know how people like close their fence in with like trees and stuff? So I'm standing behind that, so Oreo can't see me, but I know he can smell me. So I hear him whining. So they end up signing the paperwork saying that we wanted to adopt him, not adopt him, foster him again. So she gave him Oreo, we leave. Oreo finally sees me, right? So he's crying. When I say Oreo's crying, he's crying. And Oreo's not the type of dog that pees when he's excited. He doesn't do that. But this time he's like peeing, he's running around, he's laying on his back. He's just like so ecstatic to see me. So it made me cry. So I cried probably almost halfway home, okay? I cried almost like halfway home because I'm like, I missed him, you know what I mean? So he just wanted to lay on me. He just fell asleep on me in a car. And so I was just like, I don't ever want to give this dog up. Like, I want to keep him. I know that he's the right fit for us. Like, I want to keep him. So we took him to the adoption place one more time. And then after that, we were just like, we want Oreo. Like, we want to keep him, want him to be ours, because we couldn't live without him that week that we gave him up. So we want to adopt him. So we called Nicole. We're like, hey, let's get the paperwork to adopt him. We want to keep him. And she's like, are you sure? Like, can you afford that? Do you guys have like a house? Can you do this and blah, blah, blah? Like, she just started asking all these kind of weird questions. And it was just like, to adopt Oreo was only $300. You know what I mean? So it was just like, it wasn't even like, it was like $3,000, $4,000. It was $300. So of course we got that, like, you know what I mean? So it's just like, if you didn't think that we had that, or that we didn't have a home and all this kind of stuff, why did you let us foster him in the first place? And then you gave him back to us after we gave him to you. You gave him right back to us. So if you didn't think we had all this, why would you do that? You know what I mean? So my hair's sticking up. So basically, my mom was like, I don't like that. She's asking all this, like, these racial comments and things like that. She has all these racial comments that she's saying about us and things like that. Like, can we afford it? Can we do this? Do we do that? So I'm like, yeah, I don't like that. You know what I mean? So she's like, I don't know if you guys can adopt him. We're going to have him come back on Saturday and see if anybody wants to adopt him, because all of a sudden she has somebody who was interested in adopting Oreo, right? So we like, okay, whatever. So she wanted us to leave. Like, she wanted us to drop Oreo off and she wanted us to leave. What I think she was gonna do was have this lady literally take Oreo. And it, of course, it was a Caucasian lady that was all of a sudden interested in Oreo. So she wanted us to leave. She kept telling them, why are you guys hovering? Why are you guys hovering? You need to leave. Like, leave him here. He'll be fine, blah, blah, blah. So we're like, no, we're not leaving Oreo, because we already told you we want Oreo. So now you're telling us that somebody is like all of a sudden wanted to adopt Oreo. That's kind of fishy. So we stayed. Things went bad with that whole meet with the dog and the lady, it went it went left. So we basically like, okay, let's just leave. So we took Oreo. She's like, you need to fill out the paperwork, I need to do a home inspection, blah blah blah. So we like, okay, let's do it. So we set it up. She never showed up. She stopped answering calls. She stopped calling us. So at this point, I'm like, this lady is so wicked. There was a lot of other things that transpired that I'm not gonna put into this video because it's just, this video will be super long. But it was a lot of other things that transpired with that whole adoption process, and it just made me be like, okay, I have been doing this for years, like literally years in my head. I've been planning, when I adopt a dog, I need to do this, I need to do this, like get this paperwork, do this, blah blah blah. So when she kind of like ghosted us for a while, then she started saying like, you need to pay, you need to do this, I need to come and inspect your home because I don't think you guys are fit to be to adopt Oreo and this and that. I just was like, you know what, I'm gonna boss up because technically she doesn't own Oreo, right? So I go and I get Oreo microchipped so that his address can be to us. I set it up and everything online. I put my name and address, all that. I went to Carson to go get the license, right? Now I bought the license for a year, it was like 120 bucks. I bought the license for a year. I got him neutered. I did everything, like I did everything that I need to do as far as paperwork. I got him a full exam because the vet that they had us going to was a little bit shady. So I went to get him insurance and all that kind of stuff at a new doctor and at a new vet or whatever you want to call it. You okay? So yeah, so I got everything in order for for us to be able to keep Oreo. And after that, after probably like a week or two, she just stopped contacting us, and then we never heard from her again. And at that point I was happy because one, we didn't have to pay the $300 for to adopt him, which was cool. I had the money already set aside for it and I had the paperwork filled out and everything, but she just ghosted us. So I was like, okay. And I think honestly, relax. I think for her, it was more of, I just want to get rid of this dog. So I don't think she really cared at that point, and she didn't want to deal with us anymore because of what had happened at the adoption. So I feel like she was just more so like, good riddance, do what you will, I really don't care. So we've had Oreo for 7 years. Yeah, we've had Oreo for 7 years. So he is now a permanent member of our family. Say hi, Oreo. Say hi. So yeah, so this is my favorite boy. So I will post some pictures of Oreo when he was younger so you guys can see what he looked like, because now, relax, he's a big boy. Okay, all right baby, all right, so he's big now. That's the story of how we came across Oreo. Now, if you guys want part 2, which is when I tell the story of how I got Papa, which is a crazy story, drop it down in the comments. Make sure you guys like this video, smash that thumbs up, and hit that subscribe button so you guys can know the next time I post or go live. Peace, family.